The bottom line is practice. The bottom line with everything here is practice. It does not matter what I or any of my colleagues say if you don't go put it into some kind of practice. We all must practice. And how we practice when life gets really hard, that's where these tools, these philosophies, this philosophy and these tools come into play when life is hard, when life is challenging, when we're grieving, when we're sad, when we're struggling, when we're confused. Can we put this into practice? That's where the rubber hits the road for me. And so I've been saying also not just curiosity, but mystery. Can we go into the mystery, the things that we don't know yet? And somebody posed the question week one, well, if God knows everything and we're part of God, don't we already know everything? I said, well, yes, in potential. What we want to know or need to know is available to us, but right this second, do we know everything? Of course not. There's unknown pieces, and what we tend to do is go, well, I don't know about that, and so then we put a wall up because I don't know. It becomes the unknown, it becomes fearful. And so we don't want to put that wall up, it's fearful. Can we instead say, there's a mystery here that I don't quite understand yet, and can I stay open to understanding rather than close down in fear? So there's this balance between the mystery, which requires trust and requires faith, and this other part of our teaching that says I can know everything I want to know, and I am creating my life. Like, which is it, Shawn? Am I creating my life? Am I doing my treatment and saying, this is it? Or am I trusting the mystery? Yes. Ooh, that's really warm right there. Put my hand over. Yes, we want to balance creating, saying what we want in life, and having a little bit of faith in the mystery. So I went to Brene Brown. Now she's got her own spirituality. She's not really a spiritual teacher. She is a wholehearted living teacher. She talks about relationships, and she talks about diving deep into knowing other people and knowing ourselves. If you've never read this little book right here called The Gifts of Imperfection, what are you waiting for? It is so good. It's the first one in a series of 5 books, but you got to start with this one in order to get to what's next. So I'm going to read just a little piece, and this is under her subtitle called Faith. Faith. I've come to realize that faith and reason are not natural enemies. Stop right there. Faith and reason are not natural enemies. So in this case, faith, the mystery, the trusting. The reason would be the part of us that says, I know and I'm creating my life. The reason, using our intellect, using our mind, right? To put it in our vernacular. I've come to realize that faith and reason are not natural enemies. We need both faith and reason to make meaning in an uncertain world. Here's how I define faith based on the research in my interviews. Here's her definition. Faith is a place of mystery where we find the courage to believe in what we cannot see and the strength to let go of our fear of uncertainty. Listen again, because to me, this is like science of mind words right here. Faith is a place of mystery where we find the courage to believe in what we cannot see and the strength to let go of our fear of uncertainty. So first, can you remember a time in your life where perhaps you took way too long to make a change that you knew you needed to make because of fear? Think about it, because if you're like me, you've got a lot of them. Some place, some situation where it's like, I know I need to change this, I know I need to change this, but I don't know what's coming, it's unknown, it's fear, this is certain. Think about it. Everybody have something in mind? That you just took that long time, and then you finally did. And you got through it, and here you are. You know, I think we need to use that. We need to use the times where we didn't think we can get through it, or where we let fear hold us back for way too long. And finally we did. And we are all right. We're all right. The tool we have that helps us with this the most is this tool called treatment. Spiritual mind treatment is the full thing. If we take it backwards, we can go treating our mind spiritually. We are using this tool to move us past the fear, into the unknown, into the mystery, claiming something before we even see it. That's what Brene Brown just said. Having the courage to step into something that we don't know. So it helps us to shift our consciousness before the reality shows up. This is all the prayer does for us. It shifts our consciousness. It doesn't do anything to the divine. The divine is already whole, perfect, and complete, but it shifts our consciousness in little tiny everyday ways and sometimes in huge shifts. We pray to know there's a power greater than we are. It's right here, so we speak our word. We claim, I am healthy now. I am abundant now, yes? This is where it gets hung up. People go, well, I'm not abundant now. I'm not healthy now. We have the audacity to say, I'm healthy now. Spirit knows now. The question is, do you really believe it? We're trying to get ourselves, good point in my head. Get ourselves to believe it. That's what it really is. It's not that God has to do something. It's already here. It's always there. But it shifts our consciousness. It gets us able to believe something. And it helps us create our own evolution. And I've been using that word all month as well. Can we be curious about the next evolution? Individually and collectively. My mind is exploding. I have so many thousand things I want to say, but let me just kind of recap this little section right here. The prayer is shifting our consciousness. So on one hand, we are saying, this is the way it is. We are creating. On the other hand, how do we end our prayer? I release, I let go, and I let God. There's the faith. So the faith and the mystery, the reason, the creation, it all goes together. It's not one or the other. We don't stand here and say, oh, well, it's God's plan, and I don't, just let God do his thing. No, we say I'm co-creating with the God energy. And there's an element of faith, because we don't always see how it's going to show up. So a big part of our practice then is learning to transform fear into something else. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Transform fear, this month I've been calling it excitement. Can you get excited about what could be rather than afraid of it? Huh? We're human. We can't see what's around the corner. We go, this is scary, I don't know. I get it, it's scary. But we're sitting quietly in faith saying, I trust the universal presence that's more than I am to move me around that corner. So we're transforming it into something exciting. We're transforming it into what could be. If you weren't here last week at our annual meeting, and some of you were not, the board made a very bold announcement, and that is that we are considering selling this building. Not closing, moving. We are considering selling this building. It's a high likelihood because it is not sustainable. And so the board has had many months to talk about it, to look at it, to process it, to come up with this possibility. Some of you are hearing this for the first time. If you're hearing it for the first time, it can feel like, what do you mean? It feels fearful. It's unknown. And what the board and I have been practicing together is, can we transform our fear of that into the excitement of what else could be? And so we start moving into, well, it could be this. We could have a smaller building. We could have no property tax. we could have money from the sale of this building to pay for the things that we know need to be fixed in this rather old building. And so I'm bringing that up again because I want all of us to move past the fear of that into the excitement of what else could be. One of the things that shows up when Mary Falvey used to lead the visioning all the time was outreach. Outreach. How do we make a difference? Most of the time, that outreach requires dollars. It requires money. We haven't been able to do outreach since the start of the pandemic because we don't have anything else to give. So if we all of a sudden had, let's say, $1.5 million in our bank account, now that vision can start to come alive. Can we start to get excited about that? Right? So let me put this little parenthesis over here. We're not going to do a whole bunch of honoring rituals in the meantime, but I want us to begin to transform from sadness and fear and unknown to what else could be, because there could be a lot. Now do the same thing for your life. So you use that thing, you said, okay, yes, I looked, I saw something that I waited too long to change because I was afraid. I came through it, here I am, I'm okay. Okay, so what might you be going through right now that you're thinking, I know I need to make this change, but I'm kind of afraid to make it because I don't know what's coming next. And you might be at a place right now in your own personal life as well. So how can I then say, yeah, I don't know what that is, but I'm going to transform it into what could be. That what could be is where our treatment has the most energy. That what could be is, it could be abundant, it could be, I could be thriving, I could be healthier, I could be whatever. You fill in your own blanks. What could be? And then you pray to know, this is the truth for me right now. We shift our consciousness. This is true right now. And right there at the end of that treatment is, can you trust the unknown? You know, it's like, yes, both. Can I sit here and say, I don't know, something within me does know. I trust Spirit to lead me. This is what I'd like to have happen in my life, and now I'm going to let this go into the unknown, into the mystery, and trust the same Spirit who knew how to take a sperm and an egg and make me, knows what it's doing for the rest of my life. Okay, so Richard, isn't that, think about that for a minute. That same creative energy that knew how to take the sperm and the egg and make this little creature that became you and has sustained you your whole entire human lifetime is still here now. Perfect song. It's always there. It's always here sustaining us. So we let go and we let God. We dive deep into that curiosity. Can we dive deep into that curiosity? Can we trust the unknown? Can we step out on the skinny branches in faith? So lastly, our superpower then becomes two things. It becomes our ability to look and dive deep and be curious, but it becomes also our speak my word. Got my Super Shawn t-shirt on again. That's our superpower. We speak our word and we get curious about it. We all have access to this treatment thing I'm talking about. Every single one of us can sit there in the quiet and claim some new good. We all have access. Doesn't matter what religion you are. And let's not miss out in the meantime on the richness of exploring and the curiosity of mystery, because let's face it, if we knew it all, it would be really dull. Yeah. Life would be dull if we knew every answer already. Sometimes we think we want it, but oh my gosh, it's richness in exploring. So we want to be able to do both things.